Varus. Okay, Berserker will be piloting that one, and Dokla is going to bring Cassante into the top lane.
And I think with the Lucian locked in, they were more incentivized to play the Varus so they'd have a strong bot lane, and now they'll just handshake.
You mentioned it's inside the blue buff brush, so Hambach's just got to get out. There's not really a whole lot for him to do there. Ooh, nice dredge line again. That's 3 for 3 from Isles here on the Nautilus. Does take a turret shot for his trouble that time, so the trade not going to go as well. But I'm liking what I'm seeing on this so far as Hambach wants to seal away the wolf camp there from Inspired. Does get the large wolf, but both the tiny ones going over to Inspired as Rahel's going to get dove underneath the tier 1 turret down here in the bottom lane. Isles ends up trading 1 for 1 on it, but the first blood goes over to Berserker.
As well as their entire team taking the Cloud Drake right now with Ryze and Zinjao. Doka did an exceptional job just buying time for his team right there.
Yeah, and there's what I'm talking about. That's what the whole point of bringing up the stats, bringing up the struggles of the performances of these two so far. Everything that you land right there, making space, creating a little bit of pressure, a little bit of room to breathe for the rest of their team. Exactly what we need to see out of both these guys, as Huhi and Rahel, again, just the receiving end of these very snappy trades from the dredge lines from Isles. And I feel like we're seeing almost all of these hit. He's shot out 7 or 8 of them so far, and they're all just landing as Impact continues his chase after Dokla here. About to overheat, though, so got to be a little bit mindful of it. We'll get his empowered Flame Spitter just trying to keep the pressure onto Dokla as Hambach is again looking to invade Inspired's jungle.
Hambach has been spending a lot of time top here, looking to maybe secure a kill. That don't have the damage right now.
Yeah, he didn't hit him with the damage from the EQ, but it is still enough. The Cataclysm traps Dokla. He can't. But honestly, it's not a whole lot. The Equalizer's not ready to clear the wave, though, so Impact is trying to play respectfully enough to not give over the kill. Forced all the way away from the tier 1 turret. And he has to know that Inspired and Saint are somewhere nearby, that LYON is looking to make something happen. So that is a lot of minions being eaten up by the turret.
And Inspired's trying not to.
The goal for LYON was to make sure that they establish control over that area, and they've got a nice triangle of wards there as Dokla has a little bit of help coming in now. Saint arrives into the top side as Impact drops the Equalizer to create a little bit more space, but the Flash Rune Prison follows. And LYON will continue chasing after this Rumble. They need a little bit more damage. Impact gets away underneath to the tier 1 for now, but Saint picks him off with a max range overload.
Impact, where Inspired is on the minimap, they're just going to give this one up because it would cost them too much tempo. And
I think for Dokla as well, yeah, you would be able to join the fight if you wanted to, but your Kanik Rooker for Sentinels to try to go for any aggressive looks with the Braum that low. However, Hambach just loves the enemy jungle. He's in there once more. Huhi with the nice Winter's Bite over the wall. He's stuck around long enough to guarantee that he can contribute with the Q, and it's enough.
Just incredible, actually. His first days on CLG mid lane
as a mid laner.
2016.
Yeah. This guy's been in the league for quite a while as Saint makes his way back up into the top lane, but immediately Sentinels are ready to respond this time. Equalizer into the Fate Seal combo is exactly the deadly CC we were talking about in the draft. Sentinel's going to look for a little bit more on the back end of things, but can't quite find anything else. Still nicely done. They recognize LYON, want to run that play back, and they're ready with the answer.
I want to buy some Sentinel stock right now. They're looking good in this game. Right place, right time, as I may cast a cursor, but Hambach has found Berserker.
No, you may have cast or blessed them. Berserker gets caught out by the Jarvan, does survive with about 300 HP, and Hambach has to flash over the wall. Meanwhile, Dokla versus Huhi up here at the top side of the river at the same time. Huhi throws up Unbreakable, continues making a little bit more space for himself. That looked like it could have gone either way, in a way more violent way than it did.
Yeah, everybody just decides to calm down.
Available. Hope to see y'all there. Road shows are always a big fun part of anything LCS, but what's not fun, if you're on the LYON side, is watching that turret die up there in the top lane.
Threatened with TP.
Yeah, Sentinels are just going to take this one nice and slow, and now that they've got everybody heading back out onto the Rift, they will not only get the first turret up in the top lane, they will get their second Drake right after on the other side of the map. I am liking Sentinels macro.
And I'm trying to get inside the mind of Inspired right now. He always has a way that he feels like they need to play the game to get victory. Last week, he was in another difficult situation. He started carrying with Xin. Now they got to pick.
Yeah, Huhi's going to be the target. The Braum very tanky, but it looks like not tanky enough. Dokla goes all out, and it's a nice catch there. Started until it despawns. Sentinels hanging around. Herald down to 5,000. Nope, it's just going to drop. LYON weren't able to take it.
Matchup. But for the most part, they're just trading minions. I don't feel like Saint's getting meaningful damage onto these turrets.
Darkwing's just again trying to hit Dokla as often as possible. Keep the pressure on this Cassante. He does at least have the Warden's Mail now, so you've got some armor, you've got some defensibility against what Yone is going to try to do, but this Tier 1 Turbid is not long for the world, not when Huhi and Hambach are both hanging around nearby, so Dark Wings can cut that one down, but at the same time, Saint's doing the same over in the top lane, goes after Impact with a Realm Warp, wants the solo kill, but he can't quite find it. Impact gets away in time to barely survive with 100 HP, and now Saint's the one under pressure. A TP to potentially come in, Dark Wings flying his way up to the top side of the map right now. Saint, I don't think he's getting away from this one. The Seraph Shield is going to give him a lot of extra health. Dark Wings commits the Fate Seal, but it doesn't work. Dark Wings is the one forced to flash away, and Saint fights his way out.
Plus the Seraph Shield really came in clutch there as Saint flexed his power.
Yeah, you could see the moment when the shield activates and Dark Wings' movements just get a little less aggressive. It's like, whoa, hold on, I didn't realize that was going to be the deal that we're making here. But there is 5 seconds until that soul point Drake you're talking about.
And now Saint has no flash. So maybe this makes it more fightable for Sentinels, but there's no flash, no ult onto their Yone. Makes it pretty risky to contest. Impact looking for an ult flank.
Yeah, Lion's got total control over the bot side river right now. Impact dodges a dredge line. Dokla making space on the left side of the fight with the Dragon, already down to about 3,000 HP. Exhaust on Dokla, not a whole lot of value out of that one there. Dragon resets. Equalizer finds 5. Hambach goes in, but he's immediately killed. Inspired picks it up, and now Impact's gonna die over the wall. He uses his stasis, but it doesn't buy enough time. It's a double kill for Inspired, and right when they need it, Lion clutches a 5v5.
Lion team fighting coming up clutch once again. That damage onto Hambach was immense. Saint is really pumping damage right now. I'd love to see the damage dealt in that last team fight if we could somehow continues to build up towards that actualizer. And yeah, it's just a lonely little Lucian trying to kill that wave. It's not going to happen.
Nope. Lucian loves to play around using the culling in the mid lane, top side of the river right now, with the exception of Impact, who's still keeping things held down in the bottom lane. But Darkwing's going to be your target here. Inspired goes in with Isles right behind him. They want to try to get some burst down, but it's only who he's still going to damage so far. He gets away with the Unbreakable, stays alive. Impact has arrived into the fight, and Dokla's getting cooked. He flashes out, stays alive himself. Hambach is taken low, but it's who he taken down. Snap back from Dark Wings, wants to reset his position. Inspired with a nice win, becomes lightning, continues the chase. Rahel fires back, but it's only enough to ward them away for a moment as the Rune Prison from Saint catches Rahel. And Sentinels are falling apart in the bigger fights.
Yeah, these team fights just aren't close. It doesn't feel like the Yone can find Impact. Darkwing's still alive on the back end of this fight, but he's not really doing anything. It's crazy that the gold lead between Rise and Yone is basically non-existent because this guy is huge and Darkwings isn't able to make much happen as I lose my clear screen button as the Baron's going down.
Well, Impact, Darkwings, and Hambach are trying to stop this Baron from being secured by Lion. Baron down to 7,000 HP. However, the Lion health bars in these past few weeks from far greater deficits.
And even when it looks grim, the Yone can't do anything. Soul point. There's
Baron at about half HP. Sentinel slowly moving up. The teleport going to be used here from Impact, who he walks up, face checks the brush, gets juggled around as he tries to repeat, and the Braum is going to get picked off before the fight even starts. But Inspired is bursted down to 20% HP. He stays alive thanks to the ulti, and Darkwings and Hambach look for their chance to continue getting involved in the fight. Rahel still off on the right side, so Lion get the one pick, but they can't get anything more.
Yeah, they're going for more.
Never mind, I'm made into a liar. Isles goes in here with a dredge line, finds Impact. Inspired still low, but he's got Guardian Angel. Saint kills off Impact. Hambach, Rahel in their way through fog to set up any kind of a trap. Saint will run into Hambach there in the jungle, tries to go in with a Fate Shield from Dark Wings, but no, Hambach is already down. It's a disaster before it begins here for Sentinels, who have already lost their jungler, and now he's getting caught too, trying to protect the exit of the remaining players on Sentinels. Dark Wings still trying to escape here with a TP, will manage to just barely do so, but now Sentinels are completely out of position. They're down in a 4v5, and the one they lost is the jungler.
Yeah, they're gonna try and just start the Baron to maybe delay the soul or maybe get a Baron in trade, but I feel like Lion's gonna try and stop them. Are they actually gonna pull off of the Drake? They are, so Sentinels delays the soul temporarily. Inspired's gonna finish it.
Okay, Inspired goes back towards the Mountain Drake. Dokla, Isles, and Berserker in position to interfere with this Baron take. Impact's gonna lose about half HP there. Saint finally rotates over towards the fight as Impact further disengages with the Blast Cone. Isles still looking for an engage.
Yeah, it's still 4v4. Hambach is still in base.
Ooh, nice piercing arrow there on the Dark Wings to knock him below half HP, and now he isolated from the rest of the team, becomes the main target. It's often difficult to kill Braum, but not when you have that much firepower. Rahel, Darkwings, and Impact all trying to get away, but their exit plan is completely flawed. There's no way home except for Impact, who again has to use his teleport. That is both solo lane teleports used by Sentinels in the last 60 seconds just to not die. That is so much extra pressure off the map, and LYON are not only going to secure the Mountain Soul, they're going to secure the Baron from this extended sequence. They're going to be 8,000 gold ahead.
And Saint is Thanos in this game. He is just doing so much damage on the rise. 2,500 damage so far from his Deathfire Touch as an update, but he's probably done like 30 to 40,000 damage in the game so far in these 35 minutes. He just completely actualized Hambach in that bot lane fight before the Drake.
Yeah.
Just one-tapped the Jarvan.
Hambach, you know what he wanted to do, but he didn't want the Rise to be the one person that finds him in that brush, in the red buff jungle.
It's just so hard for Sentinels to play this one. Who he didn't hear no bell, but I feel like I did.
Yeah, there's something ringing out there. I'm starting to lose the faith here for the Sentinel side in this first game, as LYON is going to make the full push here in the bottom side. Total damage, it is 30,000 for Saint on the rise, top in the charts. Relmore brings everybody in. They try to flash engage into Impact, who does get caught in the Ruin Prison, and they burst him down. 5v4 for the next 60 seconds. LYON are going for the game ender here as Sentinels try to hoof it all the way back to their base, and LYON is happy to just meet them at the walls. The minions are already crashing into the Nexus turrets. Inspired's wrapping around from the left. Sentinels just have nowhere to go. Hambach dies instantly yet again, as who he's knocked down to 10%, and Rahel is already dead. There's no way out. This one was an absolute crusher of a final team fight. LYON's gonna get the ace for free. Nobody even got close to dead. It felt like it was a close game for quite a while early on, but as soon as LYON won a single team fight, they just didn't stop.
And that's just how good LYON's late game macro and late game team fighting is. The primary engage, I think, is actually going to be Mundo flashing in with an Orianna ball.
Okay.
That's the primary engage. Los Ratones did this a lot in their few wins back in LEC Versus, but that's it. That's what they have.
Okay, primary engage actually showed us some pretty good stuff.
He really has. I know we're saying, okay, there's a fight for Crab. Gonna flame Dignitas real quick, but there's no need.
Hambach trying to trade with Inspired here. Has the Heartstopper turned on. Meanwhile, Impact versus Dokla up there in the top side. Impact charging up a lot of fury. Dokla getting away for now. One more auto attack is going to proc the Hyper, and Impact is the one forced to flash away. We know Hambach down to 300 HP as Inspired is at 200 himself. They managed to heal him back up a little bit further as Hambach continues to chase towards Isles. Hits him with the Bone Saw. Isles jumps away onto the blast cone, keeping himself alive. The attempted flash out from Hambach, but it's not good enough. The brush was warded, so Inspired's ready to follow immediately. Now Dokla needs the kill into Darkwings. It's going to be a one-for-one trade as flashes get exchanged back over here. That's not the way it ended up playing out, and this is also going to give Inspired the confidence to go ahead and start working on the grubs. No first dragon taken so far yet in this one. Remember that in game number 1, it was Inspired with total neutral control early on. First Drake into the grubs after. This time around, the grubs are the first priority, while it looks like that'll be just the case.
Yeah, Inspired is just going back to base. He's happy with this trade. If they're trying to scale and play late game with Gnar and Sivir split pushing, the grubs will come in pretty handy for them. And they're just going to take this game slow, just like every early game that LYON takes. If the team was pushing the tempo, they're kind of seeming to do everything they can to slow it down.
And you mentioned earlier how all the money from that first fight, the big recipient was Inspired, just hit Sundered Sky before 9 minutes here in this second game. So he's going to have all the power he needs to continue trying to make moves as Isles once more going to evade the pressure here with a magical journey. Inspired, the gank over Hell here in the bottom lane. That will do it. Inspired gets paid. 3-1 game here for LYON as Impact again tries to keep the pressure onto Dokla, who has reverted.
Here, they're going to try and retake this vision, it seems like.
Inspired and Isles looking around. Rahel and Huhi want to get as much damage onto Berserker as they can. Rahel with the Valk away as Inspired wants to go in for the big engage, but now he's got to be careful. Hambach here in the front line with a Heartstopper. Isles continues running, but your magical journey is very short. That's one kill over to Sentinels. Hambach's going to take it. LYON getting
health and damage, and if you engage for them, they're happy about that because the fight begins and they can just walk you down. So Hambach going to become a problem on this Mundo if he gets more fights like that, and if LYON's not able to attack the side lanes.
Saint Trying to clear out the waves around the tier 1 turret here in bottom side. Nice shockwave there, pulls him right back out of his dash, so Dark Wings chunks him low. Hambach and He's still thinking about making their way forward to try to finish this off. Bonesaw connects, Saint trying to make enough distance to get away here, but no, it's Hambach making the play yet again as Impact has to try to escape here from the top side. Tempered Fate pauses the turret for quite a while. Dokla still on the chase now too. Impact trying to walk it away, but no, Dokla gets the last auto attack. Impact falls. LYON at least gets something.
Everyone, they've played good competition. The last 3 weeks, C9, FlyQuest, Team Liquid, now LYON. After this week, it will get easier for them in their quest to make playoffs, but very interesting as this Rift Trail has started up.
Hambach chunked down to 1/3 HP, but he is Dr. Mundo inspired, caught in the Aqua Prison, and both junglers are out of the picture, but a 2-man shockwave arrives from Dark Wings. Saint trying to hide in the smoke still, dives towards the back line, but he can't kill He yet again. Rahel gets one back as he now has to scrap with Berserker on the left side of the fight, though Dokla being forced away by Impact. Dark Wings staying alive for now as Berserker finally kills Rahel, but Impact can't catch up to Dokla. It's a bloodbath in the top side. He right behind him puts a little chunk of damage into the Gnar while he is in that vulnerable mini form. Isles and Saint both going to approach from the side. They want to go after Dark Wings as Inspired flies in, but again, the counter engage is there. Hambach trying to deal with Inspired as Saint wants to complete the execution onto Dark Wings. Dokla coming up right behind him. Inspired is already down, but LYON have found themselves a double kill for Saint. With Rahel out of the picture, can they find more? Dokla's still trying to get away, but Hambach's on the chase. Flash forward for the execute with the auto attack as Isles has to try to escape from Impact, but no! The hungry crocodile is ready for his lunch, and Berserker and Saint are the only 2 left standing on the LYON side. It's a 3-for-2 trade, and Sentinels retain control of the Dragon Pit. Impact wants even more. He lands the Ruthless Predator onto Saint, but he misses the kill by 100 damage.
But it looks like the Mundo is going to be able to secure Sentinel's soul point for Mountain Soul as soon as he finishes off the last 2,000 health on this Drake. Really crazy fight and flank by LYON. They completely...
I really feel like this next dragon needs to be Soul. Like, they can't afford a blunder around it and have to wait 5 more minutes to hit that power spike. Impact and Hambach thinking about just trying to force down the tier 1 turret, but LYON's ready to respond with droves here as He sends out the tidal wave and hits 3 with it. Hambach's got to be careful as the burst comes in. Berserker's about to kill him. Saint is down, but traded away for Hambach. A 1-for-1 trade as all 5 players from both teams flock to the tier 1.
Berserker getting pretty strong, pretty crazy fight over the third turret of the game, so that's all tier 1s down.
But if Impact does have target access, it guarantees a lot of extra damage.
It does mean that they're thinking about going for Dokla, who's all alone.
Yeah, Dokla is pretty far pushed up, tries to hop away. Yeah, Dokla's underneath the enemy turret. Impact has to pop the Dominus to make sure that he doesn't die 1-for-1 there, but they get their kill onto Dokla.
Not a huge loss in the overall map. It sent 4 people up there. It looks like Saint's going to be able to kill the bot turret. Mid turret's on 1 plate, so maybe that's pretty close as well. I think that's just nice little entertainment before the eventual Soul.
Yeah, and there's that flank like we're talking about. Saint once again looking for the pincer attack, but they found him. He's been spotted out. Hambach trying to move in from the right side. Lines are all over the place in this one. LYON trying to regroup, reestablish those battle lines in a safer way. Saint's flank is spoiled. That's pretty big here for Sentinels.
Hambach's got to retake the space. Isles gets engaged on by Renekton. Here's the fight.
Yep, there's your Ruthless Predator trying to lock him up. Berserker gets away for now, firing back into Impact as Inspired, looking for the chance to jump on in. Now it's Sentinels who have to reorganize their battle lines. Dark Wings knocked down to half HP. On the Hunt was used from the Sivir. Grand Starfall used from the Pantheon. All ultis still available on the Sentinel side.
It is just an eye contact fight right now, and Sentinels has reestablished themselves, but a TP from Impact is very risky.
Yeah, he TPs in, but he immediately flashes out of the Mega Gnar, so now Dokla doesn't have that ultimate to use in the upcoming team fight. Saint is still looking for this potential flank as Inspired at 40% HP stays right next to Berserker. Hambach continues trying to zone them away with the infected Bonesaws as Dokla reverts back into the midi form now. Saint forced to pop the smoke. Sentinel still staying on top of the Drake, but no DPS being put into it. They're solely focused on the fight. You heard he talking about it in the comms. Inspired's now your target. He throws up the shield to stay alive for now, but it's another nice tidal wave coming out from Rahel is down. Saint found the execution, but Saint dies in trade. Dokla and Berserker still looking to get a little bit more damage in as Sentinel's health bars crumble. LYON find their angle. Darkwings goes golden, but he's only a trophy for Dokla. The shutdown on the Orianna. Sentinels, this long dance outside of the Dragon Soul doesn't go their way. Now Hambach and Impact try to run away into the enemy jungle. They're not gonna go very far though. It's a shutdown for Dokla. It's an ace for LYON.
LYON team fighting is just different. Isles with the perfect flash stun onto Rahel, gets them to kill the Corki before Rahel can really do damage, and most importantly, Berserker just gets to hit.
I have to fight now.
Berserker is just absolutely next level now. He has his Mortal Reminder fully completed. Total damage this game, he is 7,000 ahead of the next closest competitor. Now has total control over the bot side river. They're just gonna start the objective.
But they're not dumping all their damage onto it yet. They're hoping to do damage to Lion when Lion flies in.
Yep, Dokla still in mini form, but Inspired drops in with a Grand Starfall, finds its way into the back line, goes after Huhi, but he can't quite kill him. Isles also getting away in a magical journey over the wall. Inspired still low, but he's still fighting. Darkwings dies first. Saint trying to assassinate Huhi yet again, stays alive in the stasis, and it buys him all the time he needs. A double kill for Berserker, as Impact can't even kill Isles. Hambach's the only one still standing. And that is a disaster fight for Sentinels. It's a 4-0 for LYON.
LYON might be trying to end the game off of this one. They double TP into the top lane to at least maximize the gold that they're going to be getting. They haven't actually killed the Drake yet, so with this investment, they might be looking to end here.
Yeah, this is the full send call from LYON. 5-man push, barreling down the top lane. Only Hambach on the Mundo still standing to maybe be able to stop them. 5 seconds left on Huhi respawning on the Nami. 10 seconds on Darkwings, 15 on Rahel. LYON make their way onto the first Nexus turret. They burn it down. Huhi and Hambach trying to buy enough time for everybody else to come back. Tempered Fate onto Darkwings back in the fountain as Huhi dies to Saint. LYON, they've made their way onto the Nexus now. They've got it down to 1/3 HP, but the Shockwave kills them! The clutch hold from Sentinels at the very edge.
They didn't hear no bell for the clean sweep. They stay in the game. So objective bounties aren't up, but they get all the champion bounties, and they have so much time. They're easily going to be able to just collect. Then they'll be able to reset again. But probably they need to stick in their base because their Nexus is completely exposed.
The Nexus is exposed at 25% HP, so if you just have like Pantheon ult in, drop a ward, and then teleport Dokla and Saint on top of him, they can just burst your Nexus down. It is kind of to decide the entirety of the game. The Elder begun by Sentinels, but DPS is going pretty slowly. Inspired ults in here with the Grand Starfall. Huhi has to try to flash away, but the Nami dies immediately at the start of the fight. Saint finds his angle over the wall, and the carries from Sentinels are cut to ribbons. Berserker gets the kill on Darkwings, and yet again, Sentinels kill everybody except for Dr. Mundo. LYON are taking these guys down 2-0 style. It was dicey there at that first Nexus push, but there's no way for Sentinels to stay standing on this one. The timers are simply too long. The LYON team fighting is simply too good. They call their shot, and it's a home run. LYON sweep Sentinels 2-0.
What a gorgeous team fight to end the